powerful man believes he built his empire alone. He sits at the head of the table. He signs the contracts. He shakes the hands. And when he travels, he leaves behind a loyal, patient, praying wife and goes to sleep feeling like a king. He never thinks to ask what his queen is building while he's away. This is the story of three women the world thought it understood. It was wrong. If you attended the city cathedral on any given Sunday, you would see her in the third pew from the front. Chief Mrs. Adelaide Bankole Adeosun, 51 years old, flawless, the kind of woman who made younger women feel undressed just by existing in the same room. She wore creamless like it was a second skin. Her head tie was always perfectly wrapped, not too high, not too modest, just right. Everything about Adelaide was just right, controlled, deliberate, beautiful in the way that expensive, dangerous things are beautiful. She sang hymns with her eyes closed and her hand pressed lightly to her chest like the words were going straight to her soul. The pastor, a large, sweating, deeply respected man named Pastor Emmanuel, often used her as an example during sermons. "Look at Sister Adelaide," he would say, without looking at her directly, because even he was not immune. A woman of virtue, a crown to her husband, the kind of woman Proverbs 31 had in mind. Adelaide would smile, press her Bible to her chest, and lower her eyes and practice humility. She was very, very good at this. 3 pews behind her sat Zainab Lawal Okonkwo. If Adelaide was fire-dressed as candlelight, Zainab was still water, the kind that runs deep and drowns you before you realize you've stepped in. She was 47, slender, always in a kaftan, always in a color that made her look like she had just returned from somewhere more elegant than where you were standing. Today, it was sky blue with hand-embroidered edges she had done by a woman in Kano who worked only for clients referred by other clients. Zainab did not smile at people she did not know. She nodded. There is a difference. A smile invites conversation. A nod says, "I have acknowledged your existence." That is enough. Her husband, Senator Rashid Lawal, was proudest of 3 things in his life: his oil blocks in the Niger Delta, his fleet of SUVs, and his wife's reputation. Zainab is not like other women, he told his friends over cognac. She has no interest in the social media nonsense. No loud behavior. She's content. She's mine. Zainab, had she heard this, would have smiled into her wine and said nothing. She was very good at saying nothing. The youngest of the 3 sat not in the church building itself, but in the overflow room, because she had arrived late again. Kiki Osage Briggs, 34 years old, married to Chief Emeka Briggs, who was 61, built like a man, who had once been powerful and was now mostly just large, and who loved Kiki with the desperate, bewildered devotion of a man who knew somewhere deep in his gut that he was holding something he did not fully understand. Kiki was beautiful the way a sports car is beautiful, fast, attention-grabbing, and not built for the kind of roads most people travel on. She sat in the overflow room scrolling through her phone with one hand and holding a paper fan in the other, her ankles crossed, her designer slides peeking from beneath her Sunday wrapper. She was watching a video she had taken herself. A young man, 26 years old, jawline like a sculptor, eyes wide with disbelief, standing next to a brand new white SUV with a red bow on the bonnet. His hands were trembling. His voice, when he finally spoke, cracked like a boy half his age. I don't know what to say. I've been fasting and praying for a miracle for 3 months. God used you, Kiki. You are an angel. Kiki watched this moment and she smiled. The smile of someone watching a chess piece move exactly where they intended it to go. Angel, she thought. Sure. Monday morning arrived with motorcades, 3 of them almost simultaneous, rolling out of 3 different mansion gates in the most expensive neighborhood in the city. Black vehicles, tinted windows, outriders with sirens, the kind of departure that made the neighbors step onto their balconies and watch. Senator Rashid Lawal, Chief Emeka Briggs, and Chief Daniel Bankole Adeosun, industrialist, board member of 4 companies and Adelaide's husband of 26 years. They were flying to Dubai, attend the regional economic summit, important men doing important things in important places. At each gate, a wife stood and waved. Adelaide held Daniel's face in both hands before he got into the car, looked into his eyes and said, "Come back safe. I will be praying every day." He kissed her forehead. He believed her completely. Zainab handed Rashid a small travel Quran she had wrapped in leather herself. For protection, she said quietly. He clutched it like a talisman. Kiki kissed Emeka on both cheeks, fixed his collar, and whispered something in his ear that made the old man laugh like a younger version of himself. "My Kiki," he said, "what will I do without you?" The motorcades moved, the gates closed, and for approximately 45 seconds, all 3 women stood in their respective driveways and did absolutely nothing. Then, as if a silent alarm had gone off that only they could hear, the transformation began. Adelaide walked back inside, picked the lace hair tie off her head and set it on the console table in the foyer and called her driver. Zainab went upstairs, changed out of her modest Monday wear in under 4 minutes and sent a voice note to 2 people that contained only the words, "They are gone." Kiki didn't even go back inside. She walked straight to her personal car, not the one her husband knew about, the other one, tapped the address into her GPS and drove. By 10:30 that morning, all 3 women were at Adelaide's pool's house. The secret circle was in session. The pool house was a building within a building, a glass and marble structure at the back of Adelaide's estate, past the main gate, past the second garden, past the guard post that only answered to Adelaide personally. Daniel had paid for it. He believed it was used for Adelaide's spa days and the occasional book club. It had never hosted a book club in its life. The pool shimmered. The jasmine from the garden floated in on the breeze. On the low table, between 3 sun loungers, sat an ice bucket, a bottle of rose, a bowl of chilled fruit, and 3 phones, not the main phones, the other ones, the secret phones. Adelaide was already in her silk robe and oversized sunglasses when the others arrived. She looked like a woman on holiday in the south of France. She looked, above all, relaxed, the deep, boneless relaxation of someone who has finally taken off a very heavy costume. Zainab arrived in her sky blue kaftan and poured herself a glass before she even sat down. Kiki arrived last, threw herself on the longest lounger and immediately started replaying the SUV video again. "He actually cried, Daddy," she said, tilting the phone so Adelaide could see. Full tears, said it was divine favor. Adelaide glanced at the screen, then went back to looking at the pool. "They always think it's divine favor," she said, her voice smooth as the water. "Nobody wants to admit that favor has a price tag and a return policy," Zainab said, without looking up from her glass. They laughed. It was a particular kind of laughter, the laughter of people who are finally speaking in their first language after spending days translating themselves for others. It was Kiki who brought it up first. So the pastor, did he take the keys, or is he still pretending he survived sun manna and morning devotion? Adelaide set down her glass slowly. Then she leaned back in her lounge like someone settling in to tell a story they have been looking forward to telling. "Oh, he took the keys," she said, "but not before 3 hours of what he called counseling." "Of course," Zainab murmured. "He sat across from me in my living room. This big man, sweating in his full pastoral regalia, collar and everything, and he told me in his deepest voice." Adelaide dropped her voice to a trembling pulpit-ready baritone. "Sister Adelaide, I am deeply concerned about your spiritual state. A woman in your position must be careful about what she invites into her life. The enemy walks through material things." Kiki choked on her drink. "And what did you say?" Zainab asked, the corners of her mouth moving. "I told him," Adelaide's voice went soft and helpless, the voice she used when she needed men to feel in control. "Pastor, I know I am just a confused woman with too much money and no one to guide her. My husband is always busy. I need someone I trust, someone with real spiritual authority, someone who can reach me where I am." The pool house went quiet for a second. Then all 3 women collapsed. "He was gone," Kiki wheezed. "I can picture his face." "His whole theology rearranged itself in real time," Adelaide said, wiping her eyes carefully, saving her mascara. "By the time I brought out the car key, just the key, on a simple ring, set it on the table between us, he went very quiet, very still. I could see him having a full internal conversation with himself and with God simultaneously." "Who won?" Zainab asked. "I did," Adelaide said simply. "He picked up the key. He said, and I want you to hear this clearly, he said, 'Sister Adelaide, your generosity is truly overwhelming. I hope you know I will repay this in prayers.'" "Prayers," Kiki repeated. "He is currently waiting for me," Adelaide said, checking her watch, "in the guest suite of my city penthouse. He thinks we are going to study the Psalms." "And?" Adelaide smiled at the pool. "He will be praying, just not the kind he planned." Now, before you laugh, and you should, because it is funny, stop for 1 second. Because here is what the story does not show you yet. Pastor Emmanuel was not a bad man when the story began. He was a flawed man, a human man, a man who had preached against greed for 14 years and genuinely believed himself, a man who had counseled struggling couples every Saturday morning and meant it, a man who loved his wife of 20 years, even if the love had grown comfortable and quiet the way long marriages sometimes do. He was a man who had one weakness. He believed he was stronger than he was. And Adelaide, who had spent 30 years studying powerful men and finding the exact spot where strength meets pride, meets loneliness, she found it in one afternoon. That is not entirely funny. This is something else. Zainab told her story the way she did everything, quietly, with no unnecessary words, which somehow made it worse. "I had to let the architect go," she said, like she was mentioning a change in dry cleaning services. "The one who designed your Abuja apartment?" Kiki asked. "Yes." "What happened?" Zainab sipped her rose, set the glass down, adjusted one of her rings. "He sent me a message," she said. "At 2 in the morning, he wrote, 'I know you're not happy with him. I've seen how you look when you think no one is watching. I can give you something real. Just say the word.'" The pool house went quiet. "Oh no," Kiki said, not with sympathy, with the experienced understanding of someone who has seen this particular mistake before. "He was a good architect," Zainab said. with what sounded almost like genuine regret. Creative, detailed, very good with spaces. Bet, Adelaide prompted. But he confused access for belonging. Zainab said, he saw the inside of my life and decided that meant he was inside my life. Those are two completely different things. She paused. The apartment he has been living in for the past year is registered to my sister's former housekeeper. The car he drives was purchased through a company name that does not trace back to me in any way that matters. I made one call. His landlord, who is not really his landlord, informed him the property was being reclaimed. He vacated in 48 hours. The silence that followed was different from the laughing kind. Did he call you? Adelaide asked. Twice, Zainab said. I did not answer. I sent him a money transfer, generous, final, with a note that said, for your services, best wishes in your next project. And he understood, Zainab said. Eventually, they always understand. She picked up her glass again. Here is the thing about Zainab's story that will sit with you long after this one ends. The architect's name was Tunde. He was 31 years old. He had grown up poor, walked through university on a partial scholarship, and built his small reputation from nothing. The apartment Zainab gave him was the nicest place he had ever lived. He had quietly started to imagine a future in it. He had told his mother he was doing well. When he vacated, he told her the landlord had sold the property. He did not tell her the rest. Zainab never knew his mother existed. That is the thing about power. It does not always know what it is touching. Mine is different, Kiki said. And the way she said it made both women look at her. She pulled up a photo on her phone. A young man, late 20s, handsome in a warm, open way, the kind of face that trusted easily. He was the younger brother of a popular entertainer, a married man with a small catering business, and a wife who sold fabric online. He knows the rules, Kiki said. He has always known the rules. I was very clear from day one. So what's different? Adelaide asked. I like him, Kiki said flatly. Not love. Don't misunderstand me. I am not stupid. I like him the way you like a song that you know isn't deep, but makes you feel something real for 3.5 minutes. She zoomed in on the photo slightly, then locked her phone. His wife's name is Blessing. She's lovely. I've actually met her twice at charity events, and she's genuinely, truly lovely. She had a small clothing shop that was struggling. I anonymously funded a boutique space in the new mall for her. She now has 12 employees and her own Instagram page with 40,000 followers. Zainab and Adelaide stared at her. I know, Kiki said. Kiki, Adelaide started. I know, she said again, quieter this time. She works late into the evening now. Stock, supplies, content creation. She's building something. She's proud of herself. She has no idea why her husband suddenly started consulting for a charity foundation 3 nights a week. The pool house was very quiet. Do you ever think about her? Zainab asked, and it was a real question, not a sharp one. Kiki looked at the pool for a long moment. Every time I see her Instagram post, she said honestly. She did a reel last week, standing in her boutique, her hands spread wide, looking at all of it, grinding. She used the audio, God did this. She thinks God did it. I did it. And I can't decide if that makes it better or worse. Nobody laughed this time. Nobody said anything. The jasmine kept drifting in from the garden. The pool lights came on automatically as the sun began to drop. Later, after the bottle of rose was finished and a second wand opened and mostly left alone, Adelaide sat up straight and looked at the two with the expression she usually reserved for difficult business. We should talk about the return, she said. And just like that, the holiday atmosphere was gone. Friday, Zainab confirmed. 4 days, Kiki said. Adelaide nodded. Let's go through it. This was the part of the circle nobody saw. Not the laughter, not the stories, not the wine. This part, the cold, careful, precise process of erasing everything and rebuilding the acceptable version of themselves from scratch. They had never written the rules down. They did not need to. They had each arrived at them independently over years and discovered upon meeting that they had all reached the same conclusion. Rule number 1, never let them move in. An address is a claim. The moment a man can say, I live at, and your name or property is attached to that sentence, you have given him something he can use. Everything stays in other names, sister's name, company's name, cousins in other states. Rule number 2, never use your real name. The secret phone is not a luxury. It is infrastructure. Rule number 3, you end it. Always you. The moment you allow a man to feel like he could leave you, the power has shifted. You feel it, a subtle change, like air pressure dropping before rain. You end it before that drop. You end it when he still wants more. That is the only way to end it cleanly. Rule number 4, the receipt is sacred. When the husbands return, there is no trace. Not a cent, not a receipt, not a saved message, not a look on your face. The receipt is not just physical, it is mental. You must look your husband in the eye and be completely the woman he left. This is the hardest rule, not because it requires dishonesty. These women had long since made peace with that, but because it requires a particular kind of compartmentalization that takes years to develop and that nobody ever tells you has a cost. The pastor, Kiki said. Have you blocked him? Not yet, Adelaide said. Friday. His second number too? There's always a second number, Adelaide said. They think we don't know about the second number. I know about the second number. The SUV, Zainab said, looking at Kiki. Registered to a shell company, Kiki confirmed. If he ever talks, the car is reported stolen. He thinks it's his. It was never his. Good. Adelaide stood and walked to the edge of the pool. She looked down at her own reflection in the lit water, the silk robe, the hair, the face that had learned to only show what she wanted it to show. We are not reckless women, she said, more to the reflection than to others. Reckless women get caught. Reckless women cry at the wrong moment. Reckless women fall in love. She paused. We are deliberate. That is the only reason this works. Zainab looked at her. Do you ever get tired of being deliberate? Adelaide was quiet for a long moment. Yes, she said finally. She did not explain further. She did not need to. They left the pool house separately, 30 minutes apart through different exits. As always, Zainab went first. She drove home, went upstairs and stood in her enormous walk-in closet for a few minutes, running her hands along the things that were hers. The kaftans, the jewelry, the rows of shoes organized by occasion. Then she changed into the clothes Rashid expected to see her in when he called for their nightly video chat at 9 p.m. She lit the candles in the master bedroom, not for romance, for smell. She wanted the house to smell like home when he walked in on Friday. She believed in details. She had always believed in details. She sat at her dressing table and looked at herself for a while. She had a good face, a face that gave very little away. She had spent years perfecting this. She picked up the main phone and called Rashid. Sweetheart, she said. When he answered, how was the first day? Are they treating you well? Her voice was warm, interested, wifely. Every word was real. That was the complicated thing. She did love Rashid. in her way, in the way you love something that has been part of your life. For so long it has grown into you. She was not performing affection for him. She was offering the portion of her that genuinely belonged to him. She had simply decided a long time ago that he did not get all of her. She was not sure he would have known what to do with all of her anyway. Kiki went home and filmed the video. 45 seconds, her in a soft cardigan, hair wrapped loosely, sitting on the bed she shared with Emeka. She looked at the camera with a particular expression she had perfected, open, soft, a little wistful. 10 days feels so long when the house is quiet, missing my person, grateful for what we have. She posted it, added a heart emoji, put her phone down. Within an hour, 4,000 likes, comments full of goals and this is so sweet and I want what you two have. Kiki read through the comments while lying on her back on the bed, and her face, the real face, the one the camera never saw, was unreadable. She thought about Blessing's boutique reel. God did this. She thought about the young man in the photo, the warm, trusting face. She thought about Emeka at the gate that morning, laughing at what she whispered in his ear, that she had whispered, "I'll be counting the minutes," and how completely he had believed her. And then she stopped thinking about all of it, the way she had trained herself to stop, and she went to sleep. Adelaide was the last to leave the pool house. She stood there alone for a while after the others had gone, watching the pool in the dark, the water still and late and very blue. She thought about the 26 years. She thought about the early ones, when she and Daniel had nothing, when they had shared a mattress on the floor of a one-room apartment and argued about money and laughed about it later, when he was just Daniel, not Chief Daniel Bankole Adeosun, when she was just Adelaide, not the chief's wife. She remembered exactly when she had stopped being just Adelaide. It was not a sudden thing. It was a slow replacement, piece by piece, until one day she looked in the mirror and the woman that was looking back was perfectly dressed, perfectly positioned, perfectly everything, and somehow also gone. The cycle had started 3 years later. She had told herself it was about power, about reclaiming something, about not disappearing quietly into the life that had been designed for her. She still believed that. She just also knew, standing here in the dark, that it was about other things too, lonelier things, things she did not say out loud, not even to Zainab and Kiki. She picked up her bag, walked to her car, and felt the buzz, the secret phone. She looked at the screen. Pastor Emmanuel, when can I see you again? I can't stop thinking about our time together. I don't understand what's happening to me. I've never... She stopped reading. For a moment, just one, something moved across her face. Not love, not guilt, not triumph. Something harder to name. Something that lived in the space between all three. Then she closed the message, deleted the chat, slid the phone back into her pocket, got into the car, drove home. They came back the way powerful men always come back, with noise and movement and the assumption that the world has been waiting. The motorcades, the gate opening, the bodyguards climbing out first, then the husbands, slightly tired, slightly fed, already reaching for phones to check what they had missed. Zainab stood at the door of their home in a deep green kaftan, the candles lit, something warm cooking in the kitchen. Rashid walked in and hugged her, and she felt the familiar weight and shape of him, the smell of the plane on his collar. "I miss this house," he said. "I miss you," she said. She meant it. That was the complicated thing. She always meant it. Emeka practically tumbled out of the car when she saw Kiki waiting on the steps. She had dressed carefully, not too much, not too little, just enough. She knew exactly what he needed to see. He held her face in his hands, the way old men hold the things they are almost afraid of missing. "My Kiki, my own." "Welcome home," she said. "I made your soup myself." She was, among other things, an exceptional cook. She had learned because she understood that the details matter. The soup, the smile, the smell of the house, these are the things that make a man feel safe. The man who feels safe does not ask difficult questions. At the Bankole Adeosun estate, the welcome home dinner was laid out exactly as Adelaide had planned it. The caterer she had personally vetted, the cognac Daniel preferred, opened and breathing, the roses white, his favorite, fresh in every room. Daniel walked in and stopped in the entrance hall and just looked around at all of it and then at her. "Adi," he said, and his voice was full of something genuine and complicated. "You are home," she said, and walked toward him. She let him hold her for a long time, and standing there in the entrance of the house that was both hers and not hers, in the arms of the man she had married when she was still just Adelaide, she closed her eyes. And for a moment, she was not the woman at the pool house. She was not the woman who had built an empire inside his empire. She was just a woman being held. And it was, even now, even after everything, it was enough. Later that night, after the dinner was cleared and the guests had gone, Adelaide sat at her dressing table. She removed her jewelry piece by piece, the earrings, the necklace, the bracelets, all of it set carefully in their velvet boxes. She wiped her face clean, and in the mirror, without all of it, the gold, the silk, the perfect posture, the practiced expressions, she looked at herself, just herself. "What do you want?" she asked the woman in the mirror. The woman in the mirror did not answer. She never did. Here is the question nobody in this story thinks to ask. Not the husbands who came home satisfied, not the men on the other end of the secret phones who are still waiting, not the world which looked at these three women and saw only what they were meant to see. The question is this: are they happy? Not comfortable, not powerful, not winning, happy. Because a woman who has everything, money, beauty, freedom, options, and still needs to build a secret kingdom inside her own life, is a woman who is missing something. Maybe she knows what it is. Maybe she stopped asking. The kings come home. The queen smiled, and somewhere in Adelaide's silk pocket, the secret phone lit up one final time. She felt it. She did not reach for it, but she did not throw it away either. Make of it what you will. The secret circle. If this story made you think about something, anything, drop it in the comments. Not judgment, just honesty. What did you see in these women that you weren't expecting to see? Because the most dangerous stories are the ones that make you laugh first and then sit with you for days. See you next time.